Hi guys, welcome to our second live hangout. Hopefully we've got through some of the technical problems we were having earlier. The previous event that we had wasn't really working, so we had to create a new one. Hopefully people are going to pick up that new link and join in as it is. Excellent. So we've got all the people that we want to talk to have finally arrived as well, thanks to technical difficulties. So for those of you that don't know who I am, my name's Dean Ellis, as you can see from the, see if I can get this right, that bit. I'm a contributor to MonoGame. I've been doing that for about 5 years. So there's a lot of my code that if you're using MonoGame, you're using. I also work at Xamarin, or should I say Microsoft? Still Xamarin, I think, at the moment, as my day job on the Android team. So it's quite cool that I get to work on two very cool projects. Now, with me today, we've got two guests this week, this time around. I'm going to talk to Dominique Louis a little bit today about Xamarin stuff. Dom, do you want to introduce yourself and tell people about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Dominique Louis. I used to work a little bit on the MonoGame project back in the early days. Now also working at Xamarin and working on the profiler team at Xamarin. So allowing you to profile your mobile apps and also Mac apps as well, but mainly Android and iOS.
Oh, that sounds quite cool. You look a bit tired there, Dom. Are you going somewhere tomorrow?
But potentially flying out to the US, maybe Orlando, to attend Evolve.
Yeah, there's this little Xamarin event going on next week, isn't there? So it's I think we're both a bit of a late night for us tonight, which is quite cool. And thanks, Dom. Thanks for that. And our other guest this week is Brian Peek. And as far as I know, he's a Microsoft evangelist and MonoGame fanboy. Is that right, Brian? Do you want to tell people about yourself?
I have the shirt and everything to prove it. So, yeah, Brian Peek. I'm I guess a game developer evangelist is what we call ourselves on our team. But we do lots of stuff with a variety of games, a variety of partners, and helping them bring their iOS, Android games over to Windows platforms. That said, on my spare time, I am a MonoGame and XNA fanboy. I've done lots with it, none of it good, but it's all out there for you to find if you really want to dig around.
Well, I think we really need to get you a decent T-shirt there, Brian, because that one's a little bit out of date.
It has the very old logo. I'm a little disappointed that no one has taken it upon themselves to send me a new one, but I guess some people's pull requests aren't worth as much as others or something. I'm not really sure how that works, but...
Dominic, you're the head of PR. Can we sort something out for Brian, do you think?
I'm sure we can.
Fantastic.
What size are you, Brian?
Medium, large, depending on the run of the shirt.
Right. Okay. I'm sure we can send both out.
That was the only reason why I agreed to do this tonight, so that's fine.
So just to get a T-shirt.
Just for a new logo T-shirt. Yep.
Perhaps we should do that as a thing, that if a guest appears on the Hangout that and they're not really affiliated with the MonoGame core team, they get a T-shirt. Perhaps we should do something like that.
Yeah,
so
right.
Starting a trend.
Yeah, start a trend. So,
Dean, I seem to have lost my banner here. What's going on?
I don't know. I wouldn't worry about it, Dom. We'll sort it out next time. So, it's been an interesting month for MonoGame, I think. So there's some. The last Hangout was prior to build, and it was at GDC, and there was a lot of cool stuff that was announced at GDC to do with MonoGame going to Xbox One, and that was for the game partition. And you have to be as part of the Idea Xbox program to get onto that. But then we had build, and there was some really kind of very cool stuff that was announced there. But before we actually get into that, I think we should just talk about some of the cool things that are happening on MonoGame source code at the moment. One of the things I've noticed this week was we had a pull request to replace part of the OpenTK backend for the OpenGL desktop platforms with the SDL. One of the contributors has been working hard on that, so that should hopefully make our Mac and Linux support bit a bit better. And keep an eye out for some OpenGL stuff that's going on as well. We're going to replace OpenTK completely in the library with our own bindings, and that should mean that if we find bugs, we can get a quicker turnaround and stuff like that. So that was one of my favourite pull requests this week. Dom, have you managed to scan the pull requests or Twitter feed to see anything interesting?
I've not managed. I've not had time to look at the pull request feed. I have been looking at the Twitter stuff. So is there a place where I can post some links that people can at least have a look at some
Right,
accounts?
let's see if I can enable. I haven't got the showcase, so I haven't enabled that, unfortunately. I'll have to do that next time. You might be able to. Can we post it in chat? No, perhaps you can share your screen, Dom.
Share my screen. Hold on. It's probably not safe for work. Hold
Even
on
more
1 second.
reason to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't show anything private, which would be good. There should be a screen sharing option there. It's the green kind of thing on the panel.
Yeah. A lot of the apps are crashing for me at the moment, but anyway. Desktop. Let's try this one.
Okay, yeah, we can see it.
Would like to control the computer. Hold on, it's asking me to verify things, which I haven't. So if I click over here, can you see this tweet from Cosmonaut?
I can indeed.
I can. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so this guy, which is Cosmonaut Games on Twitter, he's doing some very cool lighting and 3D stuff. He's doing like an isometric type racing type game called Bounty Road, as you can see, and he's been doing very cool stuff with shaders and the like. So if you're looking for somebody to follow in the MonoGame community, he's a great choice. Let's see if
I think I remember if I had a quick look at his blog earlier this week, and he actually blogs about how he does some of that stuff as well. Not necessarily the code, but kind of the process. So that's quite good. So it's definitely looking at this guy and tracking the progress of that particular game, I think.
Yeah, he's been running some posts, you're right, and going into a lot of detail. Another interesting one is bitbull.com. Guy by the name of James Kloss. I was actually speaking to somebody at the London Mobile Dev Meetup who used to know this guy, and he used to write games back in the ZX Spectrum days. And I think this particular game, Jetboard Joust, has a very cool retro feel, but updated mechanics, if you will.
Yeah, it does look pretty cool.
And the whole sort of very grey look to it. But lots of like modern touches to it. And he's what's the word I'm looking for? Cataloging the dev process, so you can see how he's doing various bits as well. So those are the two accounts that I wanted to just point out this week. I'll try next time. Next time I'm on, I'll try and get some other ones. Usually some screenshot Saturdays as well, and we'll post a few of those.
Okay, that's a very good point actually. If people are watching and you want to get a free retweet from the MonoGame account, don't forget to hashtag us, either MonoGame or Built with MonoGame.
Yeah.
And we do a screenshot Saturday thing as well, don't we, Dom?
We do, yeah, and I'm monitoring those and retweeting. The good thing is at the moment is that I don't know if it's coincidence, but ever since the Microsoft announcement of Xbox One support, we seem to have a daily barrage, good barrage, might I add,
yeah,
of MonoGame related game content and people working on their latest games. So it gives me a lot to retweet and mention and drool over, because there's some really impressive stuff out there.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So I think you can stop sharing your screen now if you can,
No.
if it doesn't crash.
Okay.
So let's get back to those nice announcements that we had. So obviously one of the major announcements that was put out at Build was that Xamarin is now free. That's correct, isn't it? So who's excited about that?
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, so that actually means big things for MonoGame, guys. So if you have an existing MonoGame app and you want to port it to iOS or Android, you can just go to Xamarin.com, sign up and download everything you need for free. It works. Xamarin Studio works on the Mac. Visual Studio Community Edition works as long as your team is below 5 people. Is it, Dom? Or is it more bigger than that?
I'm not 100% sure. To be honest.
Yeah, I think it's 5 teams.
And I'm in engineering.
Yeah.
I'm not keeping up with what the requirements are, and my license is free.
Yeah, I think the restrictions are detailed on the page there. So
yeah,
you can basically, if you're below 5 people, you can just basically use the product for free completely. So there's absolutely no excuse not to port your games over to iOS and Android anymore, I don't think.
Yeah.
So Brian, are you going to be porting some of your games to iOS, do you think?
As we were talking earlier, I have a terrible game that I wrote a long time ago that's on Xbox Live Arcade, which I will not mention the name of because I'm not proud of it. But it was a game I built for Maker Faire eons ago, and put it in Xbox Live Arcade when they opened up, or Xbox Live Indie Games, or whatever the hell we called it way back then when the thing first opened. And last year I got bored and I took and ported it all from XNA 1.1 or 2, I don't remember which, up to the latest MonoGame, and had it running on iOS and Android and Windows and everything else that MonoGame supports, just because I wanted to see how it all worked. So whether or not I'll release that is a very different story. It is not a very good game.
Are you going to have to tell us what the name of the game is now, Brian, so we can look it up, because you
It's
can't
a
leave
game
that hanging
called-
out there.
It's a game called Headbanger, which it was one of the first 10 games released on Xbox Live Indie Games when
Wow.
it went live on 360. It was a rhythm-based music game. So do you really want the story? I mean,
Yeah, go for it.
Probably longer than we need it to be, but
I'll cut you off if you overrun.
All right, fair enough. So I used to work for the Coding for Fun team at Microsoft. This was back when I was a vendor at Microsoft. This is 2005, 2006. And they invited me to go out to Maker Faire in San Francisco. It was like the first or second Maker Faire. And I decided I wanted to do an Xbox 360 game. So the concept was people could come up to the little booth. We would take their picture with a webcam. We would copy that to a location so it become part of the content pipeline for XNA, build the game, spit it out to Xbox 360, so your face was on the main character of the game, which I thought was kind of neat. I don't know.
Cool, yeah.
But the game itself was just not fun. I mean, that was the part that was missing. Technologically, it was fine, but it was missing the element of fun. But it was a rhythm-based music game. So I have a friend. I'm sure, as probably both of you guys do with the right games, I have no artistic talent and no musical talent. So I made friends with an artist and a musician. So we had our own custom soundtrack. It was the first thing I'd really done like in 3D, which back in the XNA 1.0 and 1.1 days was really painful to deal with. It's a game where the little circles go across the screen. You press the buttons in time to the music in order to make the guy bang his head in various directions in a headbanging contest, which the first prize of the headbanging contest was a free haircut. I don't know why.
that doesn't sound as bad as you're portraying it.
Play it, and you will understand.
I don't have an Xbox 360, so.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe this will convince me to do the port for iOS and Android, and you guys can play it on your devices.
Yeah, do the port so I can test it out, and then we will review the app and then tell you how bad it is.
Let's go. Maybe we can do this again in a month or two, and we can the whole show can just be how terrible my game was.
Well,
Oh, excellent.
or I could share a YouTube video.
Of
Oh,
Headbanger?
okay. Yep, yep. Okay.
It's on YouTube? What? I don't remember
Somebody,
doing that.
no, was somebody? Oh, if I can work out how to add it, mind you, or I can just share the screen and switch to the tab. Let's try that again. Let's see.
Cool. Let's just.
Is that viewable?
Yeah, I can see that.
Is this the game? Is that the game?
Hold on. I lost. Nope, that is not the game.
Oh, that's a different headbanging
That is a
game.
different. Look at that. My idea was so popular that
Yeah.
someone else did a different game. Yeah, no, not my game. I was going to say, I don't think I ever did a video of it.
Yours is cutting edge because you could superimpose your own head onto the game, not.
Let's see. Can I share a link somewhere in this thing?
I haven't turned that on, so I'll tell you what we'll do for people that are watching. We'll post if you send me the link, I'll post that on the event
fair.
system afterwards, so people can have a look and
Okay.
get the iOS port done, so we can get that out.
So, well, the big problem with that, I need controller support because it's ABXY to push this. So I need to write like a touch interface layer to mimic a controller. So
Oh, okay.
anyway,
Well, I mean that brings us on to one of the other build announcements. There is definitely another platform that you could port that to, and you wouldn't have to use the tooling that Tom did. Because what did they announce at Build to do with Xbox in addition to the game stuff? There's some UWP stuff. Is that right?
so that's correct. Yeah, so you can now deploy and debug UWP games on your Xbox One at home as of a couple weeks ago.
So no requirement to have a dev kit or any of that. You can just go to the
Nope.
store, buy
Yeah,
an
you on your Xbox One, you go to the store. There is a dev mode activation app, words to that effect. I don't remember the exact name of it. You download and install that on your box. You go in and press the button to accept the license and turn your box into a dev kit, which will reboot it. It'll download a new build on your machine, which is actually a Windows anniversary, I think. If those in the know it as Redstone, but it's a Windows anniversary release. It's the build of Windows that'll be out in July. So it downloads a preview of that to your Xbox One, restarts, and you run your retail kit as an actual dev kit. It works the same way as any other dev kit. If you were a AAA studio, you would have the same process, the same thing. There's two partitions. You can run in retail mode, which is where all your games and apps live, or you reboot into dev mode, which is where you can debug and deploy, where your apps and normal games don't live. It's only the stuff that you've deployed. And it's UWP, so I mean, if you have a game or an app that runs on Windows 10, you have a game or app that runs on Xbox One now.
So technically, someone could write a MonoGame UWP app that could run on Windows 10 phone, Windows 10 desktop, and Xbox One.
And
it
Xbox One. Yep.
Just all work.
It just all works, and I didn't port Headbanger over, but another game we did a sample called Chomp for Build last year and for Unite and a couple other things, where that was literally I pressed F5 in Visual Studio and it deployed to my retail Xbox One and ran without a hiccup in frame rate or anything else. So
that's pretty cool.
It is truly the real deal. It actually does in fact work. There's a couple caveats around all of it, which I should probably mention. There always are. There's nothing that's perfect. The caveats are your retail Xbox now is running a preview build of the Xbox OS, Windows 10's version of the Xbox OS. So it's not 100% perfect because it's not. There's another 3 months before it's due out. So you may or may not have hiccups with retail games and things like that. Not the end of the world, but something to be aware of. The fact that it's a UWP on Xbox One means you don't have full access to the GPU, to RAM, to everything that's in the machine. I think you'll get about a gig of RAM. I don't remember if it's 2 or 4 cores and a certain percentage of GPU. So it's not like being on the game partition with a traditional Xbox One game.
So
But
it's running on the app partition side of things in that case,
well,
obviously.
it's a different partition. It's
Yeah.
what we called the app partition, but it's been tweaked and changed, and this replaces the app partition.
Okay.
Okay.
So you actually get a little bit more out of it. It's actually a little more powerful than the old app partition used to be. But it's that same sort of sandbox environment where you don't have full access to everything. Now that said, everything that I've thrown at it has run without issue. So there are certain limitations in place. But so like I don't think you're gonna put Halo 5 on the app partition. I mean, I think that's probably a little too much. You're going to want to be on the exclusive game partition for that. But for my headbanger game, for 2D games, or even for some 3D games, I mean, I think UWP will be perfectly fine and manageable for a lot of things. So,
Do you think that down the line there will be the hope that we'll be able to target the game partition from our homes?
I don't know. I don't know what the roadmap is for things like that. I'm not that important to know things like that. But
No, I'm just wondering.
Oh, we got the wrong person on the call, man.
Yeah, you should have gotten someone that's far better informed than I am. But yeah, no, at present, I mean, it's the way it currently works is you go into your debug the deploy properties of your project, and it's just now another target. You put the IP address in of your Xbox, and it just deploys to that, the same as you would to an IoT board like an Arduino or something like that. It's the same process. It's just an IP address. There's a remote debugger running on the Xbox. You press F5 and it goes.
So it's like the old school remote debugging system where but before you had to put a client on the other device,
Yep.
But now it's just automatically there. So you just
It's not even kind of like that. It's exactly like that.
Right.
That's the thing that's running on the Xbox on the shared partition is it literally is the Visual Studio 2015 remote debugger. So
right, okay.
Yep.
Obviously with a slightly different UI though, I'm betting.
Well, no. So that's kind of what's cool about it though is that it's the same remote debugger that's running on your Xbox, that's running on, like if you had a laptop that you were debugging, you could put the remote debugger on your laptop and connect to it from your desktop. It's all the same. It's all the same code. So what works in one place, you now have another target.
Yeah, I did
to learn how it all works.
I had a game a couple of weeks ago. I had a Link tablet. I don't know if you've seen the Windows 10 Link tablets, like the 10-inch ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of it's an x86 tablet, really quite cool. It runs full Windows 10. And I put the remote debugger on it because I don't have a touchscreen on my Mac. Mm-hmm. So I was debugging. I needed some touch on the UWP app that I was playing with. So I just remote debugged on that instead, and
right.
That's the exact process that I used. So it's nice that it's exactly the same thing.
It's identical. You choose the same remote machine. You type in the IP address. You change the authentication type to I don't know which one of the three that it needs, and you press F5 and it works identically.
Oh, so fantastic!
I've been playing with it as well, so and it does work quite seamlessly. So once you've got the initial setup, it is very easy to just work on your game and deploy it to your Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's cool. So are there any other caveats that?
So not so much. Well, not a technical caveat, but so we announced that this whole thing at Build. As of now, there's going to be a thing called One Store, which is where all the there's going to be one store for Windows 10 and for Xbox for applications. So you'll see apps in both locations. The other caveat is it has to do with games. If you want to actually publish your game to the store, you have to go through the ID at Xbox program. And that's at xbox.com/ID. So they will, you can send them your game, screenshots, concepts, or whatever you're doing there. And that gets you able to actually post. So at home, you can do whatever you want with your console. You can publish and run everything, debug everything. But to actually get it into the store as a game, ID at Xbox is the process to go through. And the reason there, I mean, Xbox wants to keep the integrity of the store, of games on their console, so there's not lots and lots of generic clones or stolen games or people recompiling stuff as theirs and putting in the store. They want to have just a little bit of a barrier there in order to preserve the sanctity of Xbox, I guess is a good way to put it.
They don't want 500 Flappy Bird clones.
Exactly that. Exactly that. That's exactly what they're trying to avoid. So they put a little bit of a hurdle in there so someone can, has to go through a tiny bit of effort in order to actually get to the console. So.
But they have no problem with publishing a UWP based game on through that process.
Yeah, no. If you have a UWP game that runs and performs as a UWP game, great. It doesn't. You don't have to be an ERA game in order to do it. You can be a UWP game.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
That's fun.
So,
I mean, one of the other things that I found, we're talking about technical caveats, was I don't know if you found this, Dom, but my Xbox had to have a wired connection to get that remote debugger to work. Did you find that, or did it work over Wi-Fi?
no, it ended up working over. Well, actually, no. I've got wired, but via my socket. So yeah, no, it was a wired connection.
Yeah, do you know if that's true, Brian? Do you need to be wired or Wi-Fi? Because I know on the standard XDK kit, it has to be a wired connection. Is this the same?
I don't know the answer. I have no idea. My house is wired, so I've never tried it over Wi-Fi. I don't know.
My house isn't, so.
I guess so. Yeah. No, there's a really long FAQ, and I can provide a link if you want to put it up with this later on.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure it's answered in there, but I don't know if it's a requirement or not.
Oh, excellent. That's pretty good. Sorry, I overspoke you, Dom. You were going to ask a question before I really interrupted.
No, I've forgotten now. Doesn't
I
never come back.
forgot what it was. Oh, that's pretty good. So I'm assuming because you have to go through the ID program, if you try to publish a game through the standard One store, I'm assuming they'll reject it.
That's as far as I know. Yes, that's how that's supposed to work.
Okay, so you heard it here, folks. If you do try that, don't get upset if they reject it, because you should go through ID at Xbox.
You should go through ID at Xbox. That's the I mean, when you go through ID as well, I mean, you wind up getting more than just being able to publish on Xbox. If you want to do a Windows 10 game, I mean, obviously anybody can write a Windows 10 game and put it in the store, and it's a Windows 10 game. But if you want to use stuff like Xbox Live, you've got to go through ID at Xbox. And again, that's just they don't want people writing a game that's giving away 10,000 gamer points for pressing the start button. That's probably what'll happen if we just open it up to everybody like that. So.
It's kind of like what happened on some of the app stores for mobile.
Yep.
If you look at the Google one, it's just full of clones and things like that. It's really difficult to find any decent games. So it's not surprising that's how they're going to do stuff.
Yeah, I think they're trying to avoid that scenario, just to keep it pure as they can.
Oh, okay, that sounds pretty cool.
I remember the question I had for Brian actually.
Okay,
so,
go for it.
Do you know if when publishing, do we have to wait until the Windows 10 stuff hits the final release before they'll publish, or will they publish, or can you publish ahead of the official release?
At this point, I don't think the portal is set up to handle the new stuff yet. So I think it'll be all at once when Windows 10 anniversary rolls out. It'll happen all at the same time.
That's what I suspected, but wanted to double check. But
that said, if you have a game now that you're working on, it certainly does not hurt to go to xbox.com/ID and sign up with ID now, because there's a process and paperwork and everything else. So
absolutely, yeah, get in early, and you want to be in there early as well, like in any store, if you've got a title, before everyone else jumps on the bandwagon anyway. So.
Yep, I'm sure it will get crazier and crazier the closer we get to release and shortly thereafter. So yeah, if you've got it now, and again, even if you're not doing Xbox, even if you want to focus on Windows 10 and you do a title with Xbox Live and all that sort of stuff, sign up now, sign up immediately, sign up fast. So
if you've got it, flaunt it now.
You got it.
Yeah, you heard it here first, guys. Get there. So that's really great that's been released now. So there's two options. We're going to have two options for getting MonoGame apps onto the Xbox. There's going to be the UWP side, which sounds like given the way the UWP support works in MonoGame at the moment, that's really low-hanging fruit there.
Yep.
You can just write your game for Windows 10 and then almost get Xbox One for free, as long as you go through the sign-up process. And then we've got the actual game partition side that we had Tom talking about at the last Hangout, which is a bit more complicated, because he's got some tooling that hasn't been open sourced yet. I haven't got an update from Tom on when that's going to happen, so they're still working on it, I think. But that's going to get you on the game partition. So yeah, there's multiple options. So it's exciting times. So it's been a long time coming getting on that particular console, and now we're here. Hopefully, lots of people will take advantage of it.
It has finally happened. It is here. It is a real thing. It actually works. You can do it at home today. It's cool. I mean, I really did not expect the first time I tried it, and this was even a build a couple months prior to the release that we made it build, and pressing F5 and just having it go without any changes, any tweaks, anything, and it just ran on the box without issue.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Excellent. So we're almost coming up to the end of time here. I was just wondering if there's anyone watching that's got any questions they want to ask of myself, Dominic, or Brian while we're here about some of the stuff we talked about. Dom, have you got any questions? More stuff?
No. I think I've asked most of the questions I wanted to talk about.
Okay, that's cool. Brian, have you got any questions you want to ask us about MonoGame? As a user, because
as a user, yeah. Can you help me make games that don't suck? I guess we can add some features to MonoGame to make Headbanger better, I guess would be my only question.
So what kind of features would you be after? What is missing from a Headbanger that requires
the concept of fun? Can we put some features into MonoGame that just automatically makes games fun?
So hang on,
how terrible your idea is.
So we can put a property in, maybe. So game1.fun equals true.
Equals true, yeah. I think that if we could just do that,
yeah,
then I would be much better at making games. Yep.
I tell you what, why don't you code that up for us, put in a pull request, and we'll see what Tom says.
Well, is that enough to get me a shirt?
Well, I think we're going to get you a shirt anyway, because you were kind enough to join us today.
That's good.
Which is quite cool. which is very, very good. I want to see Headbanger on iOS and Android, though. Definitely.
I will dig it back out and see what state it's in. It's been like a year and a half since I last compiled it, so we'll see if it still works or not. I was having trouble with the textures on one of my models, which was weird because it was exported out of 3D Studio Max like 6 or 7 or 8 eons ago, and it worked great in XNA, and all of the textures are rotated 90 degrees.
I see. MonoGame uses an open model importer. I can't remember what it's called. Asim.
Yeah, Asim.
Yeah. So it might be that. One thing I do know about Asim is that it doesn't use there's an old version of FBX models that it can't load.
Okay.
And they need to be upgraded to the latest one. But the interesting thing is you can open the FBX model in Visual Studio.
I did that.
And then save it as something else, and it upgrades it for you.
That is what I did. I learned that myself. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you've got an FBX model that won't load through the MonoGame content pipeline, just open it in VS, save it as a new file, then rename it, and it will just magically work.
It magically upgrades it to whatever the new version was. So I did all that, but I still couldn't get something. Everything was 90 degrees rotated. So.
Okay, that's a bit weird.
Makes the game still playable. It just looks even worse than it did before.
Well, if you can get that might make a good repo. So if you can get a nice small reproduction, just pop an issue up, and Tom or someone can take a look and see what's wrong with it. It might just be that you need to tweak your model a little bit.
It could be, and trying to get that, in a modern 3D modeling tool might be
a bit
difficult. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
I've still got a copy of Milkshape somewhere on my PC, so
it's not that bad. But yeah, I have to go back and look at the old what format it was even in. I don't even remember at this point. But
excellent. Oh, that's good. Okay, so
trying to work out what 3D gaming books that Brian's got on his shelf in the background there.
Oh, the library of outdated books?
Yeah, you seem to have quite a few game-related ones.
Yeah, the games are kind of these 2 shelves. Well, these 3 shelves, kind of. Yeah,
there an
the window.
Andre Lamotte game related book on that shelf?
There is one or two of them.
Yeah.
I still have Michael Abrash's Black Book, which is the coolest game developer book to own, in my opinion, still. But
Yeah, I've heard lots about it, but never actually went out and bought it.
it's mostly useless in today's world. But it's still there's still good little nuggets in there, I suppose, that are useful. But yeah, there's a bunch of Andrew Lamotte stuff in there and textbooks and 3D. You can tell how many 3D game programming books I have, and you can tell how terrible I am at 3D math just by looking at that.
Oh, you're not going to believe it. Tom is watching the live feed, and he's just posted a question, giving me the URL for your game, Brian.
Did he really find it?
There's a YouTube video.
I swear there is no link to this game. I don't know what you're finding.
Well, I'll share my screen.
Oh my God, it is my game. Look at that. Yep.
Thanks, Tom.
From Splazer Productions from 2014, a game that I wrote like 8 years earlier. Someone has put it on YouTube.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go, yeah.
Wow, nothing is private on the internet. So thank you, Tom, for dragging that out so everyone can see how terrible and untalented I am.
So I'm going to go, after this is over, I'm going to go and watch that video. And
I'm going to save this off and put it on my website now that I have. I've never created one on my own, but now I can just use this one. That's great.
Yeah, well, at least you've now got a video for when you publish on the App Store.
There you go. That's right. That's right. I don't need to make it myself. Yep.
Yeah, see, there you go. Win-win for everybody. All right, guys. Well,
I think before you go off, I think I've been looking at the video and I think I've worked out the fun aspect.
Yeah, what's that?
What's that?
I think Brian needs to add some Connect capability and just map the head-banging movement of the person actually dancing to the music to the 3D character on screen.
We actually thought about that as an update by Coding for Fun to do that later on.
Okay.
And I think we talked about, and we were worried about people hurting themselves. And so we decided not to do it. Because there's a lot of like neck motion, and we thought people might actually injure themselves, so we didn't bother to do it. Yep.
That's actually a very good question.
Before
we sign off, before we sign off, can people get access to the Connect APIs through UWP?
That's a fantastic question that I don't know the answer to.
Okay.
I know you can on Windows 10 UWP. I don't know that I have seen anyone try it for Xbox. I mean, it should work, but I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, there you go. You're just going to have to put it in Headbanger and find out.
Well, now, yeah, and you're going to make me look. I kind of want to know now if you can do. Because I thought you could do Connect on UWP. Yeah, there's.
And in the next episode, we can post an update.
Yeah, we can follow up on all these items in the next episode.
Yeah, as long as we can all remember them. I need to make sure we.
Who's taking the minutes?
Oh, God.
Minutes for next time.
Look, mate, I know we've just joined Microsoft, but we don't have to do that, do we?
No.
Minutes for meetings.
The good thing is this is recorded, so we can look back at
That's a very good point, yeah.
and find out what we need to remember.
Yeah.
So there's the windows.media.capture APIs, which I'm looking up here, that work with Windows 10 Redstone, which is what the anniversary edition is. So yeah, this might work. Okay,
so well, if one of our viewers, if you manage to get Connect with Xbox One working, let's tweet about it. Let us know, and you'll get fame and fortune when we retweet you to all of our followers.
Maybe a T-shirt. Maybe we could. You guys can spare a second T-shirt for someone who figures this out.
Well, the first person to get the Connect and UWP working on the Xbox One.
Right, which may be literally no work at all other than taking your Windows 10 app that already does it and deploying it. So.
Okay, so there we go. We put the challenge out. I think we can do that, can't we, Dom?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So if you can get the Connect and the Xbox working on the Xbox One using MonoGame, you have to show us the code. You have to show us, or it didn't happen.
Okay.
But if it works, let us know, and we'll get you a T-shirt, and we'll retweet you as well. So there we go. Okay, so if no one's got any other questions, I think we'll call it a night for today. It's about 40 minutes we've done. I'd like to thank Brian. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's fun.
And hanging out, which is quite good. So we might get you on again in a few months.
Okay.
And find out how Headbanger's doing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll tell you what, we'll get it on every few months if you haven't published it on other platforms, and keep
just to make fun of me that I haven't done it yet. Okay, all right, we'll see.
See how that happens.
Okay.
Dom, thanks for joining us as well.
Thanks for having me. Great to speak to both.
Yeah, keep those tweets going. And for those of you not attending Evolve next week, Xamarin Evolve, they have a live stream, haven't they? So they've got a live stream. So if you want to watch that, tune in, and hopefully we'll do another live hangout in about a month. We'll have some different guests next time, and hopefully we won't have any technical difficulties. And this time I will get the time right, because I remember that we're now an hour ahead. Are we an hour ahead of GMT?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Yes, we are. So, so yeah, I was trying to broadcast this an hour early. Sorry about that, guys. But we'll get all that sorted. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us, Brian and Dom, and we'll see you in a month. Catch you later.
Sounds good.
Wow.
Bye.
Bye.